And fading into the screen from the point of view dot is the brothers. I'm Pastor Josh Barnes. This is Brother Justin Barnes and Brother Jonathan Barnes. And this is the show where we're unashamed to look at political issues, social issues, theological issues, all from a biblical point of view. Because, of course, Jesus died on the cross and rose from the dead. That's historically provable. If you don't believe us, we have lots of information on that on previous episodes. And so, since Jesus rose from the dead, there's a really good reason to believe that the Bible is actually true, since he said so. And therefore, we can't be right about issues if we disagree with the Bible. Now, I know we get a lot of flack about this. As the channel grows, we find that most of our comments are negative. And that's really understandable. We have a controversial channel because we actually believe that the Bible is true. And that's very unpopular in our society. We understand that we can prove that the Bible is true. And that's even more unpopular in our society. So, of course, we're going to get a lot of negative comments. If you have a comment, though, leave it. We don't mind if it's negative. We'll try to respond if it's something actually new, although most of the comments aren't really very unique. But if you have a positive comment, we're begging you, please leave it. We would love to hear that as well. Last week, Jonathan, for the first time, joined the show. He's the other brother. This is all the brothers. The only one missing here is a sister, and we don't really care about her. So she watches the show. That's what she's good for. But anyway, I'm getting myself in trouble. Let's just move along. Jonathan joined the show last week. We were talking about feminism and the Supreme Court decision. And there was one video that we were trying to respond to that was incredibly ridiculous and insane. And we never really got to very deep into the video. And I was so disappointed that we didn't get any deeper into the video that I decided that we would torture Justin with this video. This is from the Libs of TikTok. Justin, any last words before we put you through what you're about to go through?
Yeah, your introductions are getting worse. Just wanted to let you know.
Thanks.
You've been doing this for 2 years.
Thanks. Thanks, I appreciate that.
But outside that, no, I'm good.
It's really not the comment I was looking for, but okay. All right,
hey, you said leave a comment, okay?
Let's proceed.
We need to talk about what's going on in the Supreme Court right now. If you are a pro-life, or what you really are is a pro-birther, get the off my page. Seriously, there's the door. Bye. I'm not going to have a conversation with you. I'm not going to have an open discussion. No. Get the off of my page. Bye. This goes out to white women. White women, are you proud of yourself? The BIPOC community has been screaming about our body autonomy and our reproductive rights for the last, 10 years, and you haven't listened because you were too wrapped up in your own privilege. Well, you made that sandwich, and now all of us are eating it. Everybody needs to be calling their senators. Everybody needs to be calling their state representatives. If you're not, you're failing everyone. Because here's what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to get any kind of permanent kind of birth control, such as having your tubes removed, hysterectomy, etc. You might even lose access to things like birth control pill, the IUD, things like that aren't necessarily permanent, but they're an option. So then you're going to decide to go celibate. You're going to decide, you know what, it's too big of a risk. I'm not going to have sex anymore because I don't want to risk the chance of having kids. Because you're not a incubator. You know what's going to happen? And this is 100% realistic because we've seen those statistics spike in the states that have these kinds of laws on the book that limit the access to abortions. The amount of sexual assault and rape will skyrocket. Do you think we have any protections in place for people who get pregnant as a result of that? No, we don't. Do you think we have any protections in place for the 14-year-old who was molested by a family member and got pregnant as a result of it? No, we don't. And you want to talk about, well, that's so few and far between. The fact that you're not even protecting individuals like this. The fact that it doesn't even cross your mind of, I should have no say on what goes on in someone's uterus. We should not have to reach levels of despair where it's basically my life or this parasite's life. And if you come at me with the adoption, you better have receipts that you adopted 12 kids out of the system. And even penis havers, guess what? Your body autonomy is on the line as well, too. And again, white women, this is your fault. This is our fault, 100%. You didn't want to listen to the BIPOC community. Once the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade, not if, when. I expect to see every white woman who thinks that it was cute to wear the little red robe with the white hat. Yeah. Burn it down. Burn it down. It's time to step the fuck up.
Lovely. I am just so attracted to feminists. They're just more and more attractive every time I see a new video from feminists. I'm just.
By the way, cool thing. I already won leftist bingo. I already had one in each category right off the bat. So that was easy.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So see, it wasn't that torturous, was it?
I'm still trying to figure out what BIPOC means.
Black indigenous people of color, I think, right?
Yeah, black indigenous people of color. It's funny that the little transcript underneath, which by the way, when I go back through and edit this and have to mute all the words out, I'm gonna have to also black out all of the words in the just transcript underneath. But in the transcript, at one point, she's like BIPOC, and it translates it as biped. So the biped community. The people who walk with.
See, I was thinking the BIPOCs. It sounds a lot like a species that Picard ran into in his travels in Star Trek. Oh, this is the planet that the BIPOCs live on. You know.
I was really thinking more along the lines.
Onto something there, Justin. It might be a planet that we can.
All right. To be fair, she looked a little bit out of this world. Right. That's not a crazy statement, I don't think. But if you ever see the movies where the people hear about an alien sighting and they come out to meet the aliens, she looked like one of those people. It was just like that kind of a person. Okay, so let's break down some of your initial thoughts, guys. What were your first impressions before we walk through and kind of break this video down piece by piece?
That was my thoughts. No, I mean, to be fair, there's nothing new here. It's all the, I mean, even to say, and apologize, these are the words she used, but penis havers and things like that. Those kind of, I mean, it's all the leftist sloganeering with none of the substantiation, no good arguments, just assertions of how bad it is. And, oh man, if this happens, women are going to have to go back to biblical morality. Shoot. It's like, you get it. But yeah, no, none of these arguments are anything that's tough. None of it is hard to deal with. It's just really annoying. That's all.
Yeah.
So what kind of got me was she opens up with, I'm not going to have a conversation. And then she tries to have the conversation anyways. She lays out all the points, which are easily refutable. We've seen this 100 times, like Justin said. Nothing new here, but she's not going to have the conversation, so she's going to get her talking points out and not welcome the criticism back. Which, I mean, if you're going to live that way, you're never going to learn anything. You're never going to actually find truth. You're just going to live inside your own echo chamber, and that's what she's choosing to do, and that's what they like to accuse us of doing. But like you said at the beginning of your show, we want the comments, we want everything. We can answer these things. But if you're gonna do stuff like that, then you're not gonna progress anywhere.
Yeah, exactly right. And the problem here is that, like you said, she starts off the video by saying, "I want you off my page. I don't even want you following me. I don't even want you hearing what I have to say if you disagree with me." Which, by the way, we are clearly not that way here at Point of View. We have like 4,000 views, and almost all of them are from people who hate us on one of our recent videos. And we are just letting these comments fly. We're enjoying them. As soon as we see one that's not a repeat of all the other comments, we'll respond. But they all kind of run together after a little while.
Hang on. Or that isn't a comment that is basically, nuh-uh, because not a whole lot of substance there.
You guys are stupid. Is basically what we get most of the time. instead of just like actually interacting with the points we made. But anyway, so we're going to actually interact with her points, and whether she wants us to get off her channel. I'm sorry, we're not on her channel, and I wouldn't actually be on her channel. But let's interact with some of her points. I'm going to play this again to my chagrin because it means more editing for me when we go back through bleeping everything out. But let's start from the top, and one of you guys butt in if you want me to stop it. I'm going to stop when I feel like she's finished making a point that's...
Can I preemptively butt in because I don't want to go through that again?
Sure. But we're going to then, after you butt in, start it.
We need to talk about what's going on in the Supreme Court right now. If you are a pro-life, or what you really are is a pro-birther,
Stop.
get the off my page.
That's a terrible, stupid, idiotic point. Okay. This is going to relate to something she's going to say a little bit later, but you know that there is like a waiting list for people to adopt babies, right? Now, it's a little bit different when you get into older age groups, but to adopt a baby, there is a lot of people waiting on that. And now, granted, it's super expensive and there's a lot of hoops they got to jump through, but people that are pro-life, for example, Jeff Durbin, he heads up End Abortion Now. Guess what he did last, maybe 2 years ago? He adopted a baby that was going to be aborted, and he said, please have mercy on your child. I'll adopt them. Why? Because he wanted to see that child live. And of course, that doesn't mean we just want to see them born, because we view them as human beings. We believe in equal, the whole point is equal protection under the law. That child should have the same rights before birth as he has after birth. So to say that it's just a pro-birth, no, because we want them to have the protection of the law after they're born too. If you take an axe and just cut their head off after they're born, I'm against that too. Yeah. I'm against them being murdered. I think that's reasonable.
You know, and I think it's interesting that what we would call a pro-choice person is a pro-death person. The worst they can say about us is that we're pro-birth, which isn't really all that bad. Sure, we're pro-birth. I mean, if the child's already alive, we don't want you to kill it to prevent it from being born. Of course, we're pro-birth. But they can't actually accept our characterization of them, which is, of course, scientifically true, and that is that they're pro-death. Interesting.
Seriously, there's the door. Bye. I'm not going to have a conversation with you. I'm not going to have an open discussion. No. Get the off of my page.
Pause real quick.
Bye.
Do you see one of her hashtags is abortion is essential health care?
What's that?
Abortion is, or something like that. Like
one of the hashtags. Abortion is essential healthcare. Yeah.
Yeah. Abortion is essential healthcare. In what universe? Because
in the universe where
if I'm correct,
it's a parasite, because that's what she's going to say. There's a parasite in your body. None of this is scientific, but that's the universe.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with the parasite thing and the whole it's essential. This is a process that has happened billions of times in the human race. And in fact, that's the whole point. The whole point is that this is what your body is supposed to be doing. When a man and a woman love each other and have the special hug, this is what is supposed to happen. This is the natural process. This is 2 and 2 makes 4. And to say it is essential, if this essential healthcare was carried out in every circumstance, because it's essential, there would be no human race. So by definition, this is not essential. What is essential is my heart's about to explode. I need a new heart. You get a new heart. If we didn't replace the hearts of people whose hearts were about to explode every time, there would be no human race. That's essential. You're talking about the exact opposite of essential healthcare. You have it literally backwards.
Yeah. Well, and the whole parasite thing, too, it's just completely insane. I mean, just think about this. A parasite is something that is foreign to the body that is destroying the body, okay? Or stealing from the body what it needs. Instead, a baby is actually comes from the body of the woman as a result of the actions of the woman that are specifically designed in order to create another human being, and that human being doesn't destroy and kill the woman, but rather is the way that our species and any species continues to exist. It is the design of the woman. It's not a foreign entity taking over a woman. It's just it's an insane parallel, and it's not even close to being true in any way. And even if it was, even if a parasitic life form that was human had attached itself, you would say it attached itself because of what you did in creating it, right? And it's an innocent life that you created, even if it is a parasite. And now you're going to murder the innocent life that you created by your free will choices. That's still wrong. That's still wrong.
By the way,
parasites, ridiculous.
She's also a parasite then, by her definition. She was a parasite after she was born because she was still wholly dependent on the resources of her parents. If they did not let her suck from them in all of their resources, I didn't mean that in a, the way it probably came across, but
she's probably a parasite of the governments right now, honestly.
Exactly. The thing is, what I'm saying is, if we're going to say that someone being reliant on another person makes them a parasite, well, then that you're not just advocating for abortion. You're advocating for the first what? Josh, how long can any of your kids live without you? Like, how long are they dependent on you?
So my oldest is now 12 or almost 12. So she can live a bit longer than the rest of them without me. But still, she can't raise her own food. She can't come up with her own resources. She's still, even at 12 years old almost, she still is dependent on us to survive.
So she's a parasite.
Parasite.
So you can kill her.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. All right. Well, we're never going to get through this, Justin. We
no, because abortion is ridiculous 10 ways from Sunday. Okay, this is just the worst.
Goes out to white women. White women, are you proud of yourself? The BIPOC community has been screaming about our body autonomy and our reproductive rights for the last, 10 years.
Pause.
And you
Pause,
haven't
pause,
listened.
pause.
Is she black? Is she saying she's black?
Maybe
Is she
No.
including herself in the BIPOC community?
No, I don't think she is. But here's the problem. Actually, statistically speaking, the BIPOC community, if you want to talk about Black Americans, they've been sold a bill of goods through abortion. The statistics are higher in the Black community, and that's not a good thing. In some cities, a child in the womb is more likely to die than to be born, like New York City. More likely to be aborted. And please tell me what the racist thought is to someone who's saying, yeah, I wish that there was tens of millions of more black children running around since Roe v. Wade. It's not a racist thing to get rid of abortion. It would actually have provided tens of millions of more black faces in this country.
It'd be far less of a minority if... Right, yeah. Yeah, to be far less of a minority. In fact, the whole Planned Parenthood was founded as a racist organization, like for this exact reason. Jonathan, I know that we've kind of been talking over you. Before we hit play, was there anything you wanted to get in here?
There was a few things, but you guys are covering it pretty well. We did kind of the intro of this video before.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more in this one. Not great stuff. In fact, it just gets worse and worse the more of this thing that you show me.
We probably will not get all the way through.
I did want to bring up that Planned Parenthood, was founded as a racist organization for the specific purpose of reducing the black population. And now we've come to the place where this woman, girl, whatever this thing is, decides that it's racist to be against the thing that's supposed to be snuffing out black people. How does that?
I believe her preferred
work
terminology would be non-penis haver, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, make any assumptions on that.
She's mad. So basically, breaking it down, right now she's expressing her anger at white women because they didn't, stand up against this, and they voted for
because there's
I
a
don't know. Conservative
stupid
people.
amount of white women in the pro-life movement. Like, we're talking a giant amount of women are pro-life, which is why they know it's absurd to say this is all men trying to control women's bodies, because there are a ton of women that are in the pro-life movement.
Yeah,
We,
because
we talked last time about the de facto leader of the pro-life movement at this point is Abby Johnson, who is a white woman, came out of Planned Parenthood, and you know is like leading the charge at this point and doing a pretty good job.
I mean, because women have natural affection, right? Which is like, I see a baby and I don't want that baby to die, right? I mean, this should be all humans, but women have a heightened sense for care and love for the innocent, right? This is just naturally God has given this to women, even more than men. But even men should be the same way. But so women have that in an increased way. Of course, it's natural that women should be the leaders of the pro life movement. It only makes sense. We're never gonna get through this, guys. You got to let me play.
Never.
Everybody needs to be calling their senators. Everybody needs to be calling their state representatives.
We have been.
If you're not, you're failing everyone. Because here's what's going to happen. You're not going to be able to get any kind of permanent kind of birth control, such as having your tubes removed, hysterectomy, etc.
Now, what is that? Where does that come from? Someone explain that to me.
It's not new.
I was about to ask the same thing.
Yeah, so that's the thing that they've been saying for a long time. They say, where does it stop? If we can't have a baby, then we can't stop having a baby. We can't do this. We're going to have to go celibate. We're going to have to... Come on, guys. Nobody's advocating for that. When the baby is conceived, it is a life. It is a human being. Before that, if you want to stop it from happening, then stop it from happening. I don't know anybody who's advocating for, let's get rid of all birth control. Come on. That's kind of insane. I don't know where it's coming from, honestly.
Here's the thing. It's actually very simple. Perhaps we need to talk a little slower because maybe it hasn't come across yet. But we are against murder. That's the thing we don't like. If you don't murder somebody, so not an abortion and not an abortifacient drug, basically, because there are some birth controls that are abortifacient. They'll kill the already developing human. As long as murder isn't involved, we don't care. We're not forcing you to get pregnant. That's called rape. We're not pro rape, and we're not saying that you can't do anything to not get pregnant. I would recommend abstinence if you're not married, but you have birth control. You have many different ways people have come up with. We're just saying you can't murder somebody. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah. The point is that you shouldn't be having a relationship with another human that can produce a child if you can't take care of that child if it's produced. So this is just a common sense thing. This isn't even religious thing, because our religion tells us from the Lord Jesus Christ that you shouldn't be having a sexual relationship, whether outside of marriage, whether it can produce a child or not. But we're just using common sense here and saying don't produce a child if you can't take care of it. But if you do produce a child, you have to take care of it. You can't murder it. Right? I don't care if you can't take care of it. You produced a child. So if you're going to go ahead and ignore morality and continue in, living in sin or whatever, but you can prevent that from creating a child, then common sense says, all right, you can continue to be immoral. You're just not hurting anyone else. Okay, go ahead and do that. But when it starts hurting a human being, because you've created a life, now we've got a problem with it. So, don't cross that line, and we're do your thing. You do you.
And here's a quick question for this lady, because clearly she's not one of the most devoted followers of Christ. So, question.
Really?
Clearly, you don't.
That's a little bit. That's a little harsh, Justin.
I mean, okay, so maybe I was just judgmental there. I'll get the plank out of my eye before I go for her splinter. But anyway, which is looking like a rainforest at this point. But anyway, so she's not a Christian. She rejects the Christian worldview, right? Ma'am, you don't want people to mess with your body. Is that wrong? Would it be wrong if people messed with your body? And if so, because I believe that would be wrong. As a Christian, I do believe my body, my choice. Now, you can't go ahead and kill somebody else's body, but I do believe actually my body, my choice is a compelling argument. Because in Scripture, you do have bodily autonomy in that sense. Again, you can't just go off whacking other people, though. However, I have that ability to say that's wrong for someone else to force you to, I don't know, get a vaccine you don't want, perhaps. I have the right to say that's wrong because I have a God who has established what right and wrong is. You clearly don't have that God. What standard are you appealing to say it is wrong for someone to try to control your body? Because I'm not going to just grant you that this magical ethereal standard exists and everyone just knows it, because you haven't established that your worldview can substantiate that. And if you say, well, never mind, then I'll go with the God of Scripture, well, now you have to submit to his law, and his law is thou shalt not murder. And his law is that if a man causes, there's in, I believe it's Deuteronomy, might be Leviticus, where you have the law where if a unborn child is caused to die by somebody else's action, then there is the death penalty involved because it was murder. You have to pick one. Do you have morality, which means it is wrong for someone to mess with your body, but it's also wrong to murder an unborn child? Or do you not have morality, in which case everything goes, you have no right to any moral outrage? Pick one. You have to be consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. I don't know if we're going to get through this whole video. I guess what I'm going to ask for the viewers is, if you really wanted us to pick apart the rest, there's actually 2 minutes left of the video. If you want us to pick apart the rest of it, comment on the video and let us know. I think we're going to talk about it behind the scenes, and we're probably going to say, no, I think we've pretty much, it's torture, honestly, working through this. And I think we've pretty much handily shown what needs to be said. Jonathan, was there something else in the video that you felt like we didn't address, or that needs to be said here?
I mean, we've hit pretty much everything, and both today and the last time that we were together. But I want to touch again on the whole science thing. They're so pro science for, you got to get the vaccine, you got to get the mask, and now when the science clearly says that is a human life, science doesn't matter. Now it's opinion based. It's hypocritical, and I don't think nobody usually calls them out on that, and they don't seem to feel the need to answer that. They don't feel the need to answer any of this stuff. It's all very emotionally charged. It's not, there's no facts behind it. It's just, this is the way I feel. And if I feel it, then that's all that matters. And like Justin said, where do you get the standing to say any of this? You have no standing for anything being right or wrong at all, across the board. Murder is okay if there's no God. All of these things, you cannot say that any of that is inherently wrong. You can't have rights or any of that thing, anything like that, if there is no God. He's what gives you all of your rights.
Absolutely right. Here's on the line of science. Here's something that's scientifically proven. It's scientifically proven that your sleep will be improved with a MyPillow. Justin knew this was coming. No, you guys can go into mypillow.com, use the promo code RAM, and you can support shows like Point of View. We really appreciate it. That's really all the time we have. Jonathan knows it. He's tried it. He loves the MyPillow pillow. Anyway, that's all the time we got, guys. We'll see you next time right here on Point of View.